Mark Johnstone on the initial faceoff, and right away, Kessy makes a beeline right to Rifai. So it was very clear what Steve Ott and Kale Kessy's message was right away. As Rifai leaps to try to get into a scrap, Kessy with a couple of right hands over the top. Kessy keeps firing with uppercuts. Rifai trying to hang in there. He hasn't gotten one off yet. Kessy fires again, gets a couple more rights and takes Rifai straight down. Kale Kessy was not in the lineup back in January when Marshall Rifai gutlessly fired extra punches at Robertson when he was down on the ice. Simon Robertson hasn't played since, and Steve Ott put Kale Kessy in this starting lineup. I had a feeling there was a reason. I'll give credit to John Gruden, too. He could have easily chose not to throw Rifai out there to start the afternoon, but he did. You tell Rifai wasn't overly thrilled to have to drop the mitts with Kessy, but Kale made a direct line straight at Marshall Rifai as soon as the puck was dropped. And so 4 seconds into the game, hopefully that matter is now put to bed. Now Peterson was having some words with Henry Thrun before this face-off in the neutral zone. Rifai, one Harvard Crimson alum that already dropped the mitts. Peterson, of course, tangled against Thrun back in their collegiate days, and they are gonna go. Peterson went right after Henry Thrun, and now they're firing away deep in the Toronto zone. Saturday night fights up here north of the border as Peterson gets a couple of right hands in. Finally, Thrun was able to get back with a right of his own. Peterson keeps firing. Thrun finally able to wrestle his arm loose, but Peterson keeps firing. Thrun gets a couple of right hands in, but Peterson still hanging in there. Oh, we got a good uppercut in on Thrun that time. And now the linesmen jump in to intercept. Well, the Kessy-Rifai scrap I had a feeling might materialize. The Peterson-Thrun scrap, a bonus. As Petey and Kessy in the sin bin give each other a couple of fist bumps as Peterson looked directly back at his bench as if to say, let's get going, boys. And you know the T-Birds are sick and tired of the way this week is gone. So Kessy and Peterson sending a very clear message, not just to the Toronto bench, but maybe to their own bench even more so. 10 seconds in, and this is shades of the U.S.-Canada Four Nations matchup a year ago. There were 3 fights in the first 10 seconds of that game. I'm not sure we're going to get a third one. Wagner out there with Dubé and Koskomaki, Burns and Skinner. We know Burns and Skinner wouldn't be afraid to drop the mitts. And Michael Pezzetta is on the ice for Toronto. Well, we have around 3. We shall wait and see. Johnstone and Wagner on the neutral zone face-off. Tell you what, for 2 teams that play each other twice every 2 years, this feels a lot more like a rivalry. And there is another scrap as jumping Wagner in the neutral zone was Pezzetta. Blake Smith in there as well, and this is devolving into total nonsense now. Blake Smith jumped Wagner. Wagner didn't even have a chance to get his gloves off, and the T-Birds were quick to jump to their alternate captain's defense. And I'll tell you what, Mitchell Hardy and Jarrett Burton might not have a choice, but they might have to start throwing 10s and game misconducts out there, or this is going to get totally out of control. 15 seconds in, and I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in the T-Birds' history. There's been some bad blood in division games, but never 3 fights in the first quarter minute like this. So in case there was any doubt that the Simon Robertson, Marshall Rifai situation a couple of weeks ago, in case you thought that might have faded into the background, no, it has not. And if you think about the way Steve Ott played, now Pezzetta's over at the T-Bird bench yapping at Steve Ott and some of the T-Bird players. The linesman just now noticed that. Remarkable restraint from the T-Birds. It would have been real easy for the T-Birds to come unglued and have a conversation. Now Reese Johnson's trying to poke his nose in on the T-Bird bench as well. And again, let's not sugarcoat anything here. This is all the result of what Marshall Rifai did a couple of weeks ago in Springfield. His antics in that game are the entire reason any of this is happening. And he's running the risk of getting his own teammates injured, and he's running the risk of this turning into, frankly, something that does not mirror a hockey game right now. I couldn't even tell you who's had the puck in the first 15 seconds of this game. But the officials are coming together now, and I think the conversation here between Jarrett Burton and Mitchell Hardy, who, when they were assigned to this game, they hopefully were briefed by the league on what had occurred in the last meeting, because this is, I just had a feeling when I saw Kessy and Rifai both in the starting lineup, I just had a feeling we were going to get something